All right, so I've gotten to see about half of your show, so I have a good sense of how it's put together. Um, but I didn't know anything about Tommy and Tuppence before this. Agatha Christie's pantheon was Poirot and Miss Marple get a little more play than Tommy and Tuppence did in the United States. Were you guys aware of Tommy and Tuppence before you started this project?
No, I wasn't.
Like I'd heard of them, but I
Yeah.
hadn't read the books. And I think you're right. Yeah, they're sort of
They're the lesser
known.
known. Apparently, more of her, like some of her favorite characters, though, but they are lesser known.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Is that they're warmer stories, and they depict Tommy and Tuppence having adventures through time, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so have you guys heard of Murder She Wrote?
Yes.
Do you have Murder She
Angela
Wrote?
Lansbury.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
heard of it. I'm sorry, I don't know.
All right.
Tell me.
She Murder She Wrote was a show in the 80s that took place in New England. And then it featured a writer who solved murder mysteries every week.
Mhm.
And it set it kind of created its own little genre that then disappeared for a while.
Mhm.
And now it seems like the cozy mystery genre, which I think your show fits into,
Yeah.
is sort of back. What draws you to that kind of story as opposed to something like a Broadchurch or a Luther, where it's really nasty and gritty?
Well, I think. Go on. You look like you had a good thought on that.
I think that I would say that like this. I'm also interested in watching a Broadchurch and a Luther, but this kind of came across the desk, and what really drew me to this was, Agatha Christie has been adapted hundreds of times in a kind of a period way, but what was really exciting about this was that it was cozy crime, but modern day, and the challenge of being able to kind of like ground something that's kind of normally thought of being, Agatha Christie's sort of capering and kind of like has a sort of a tone to it that people are very familiar with. The idea of being challenged with kind of like modernizing it and giving it a different kind of a tone was felt really cool. That's what drew me.
Just knowing about it a little bit, knowing that the books start in like World War One,
Yeah.
it feels like they just had to use sort of like the theme of those
Yes.
characters and then adapt it completely after that.
Yeah, there's a spirit, I think, in them. I've like from what I've read in the books, their dynamic obviously changes because I think you first meet them when they're like quite young.
20s.
And then by the last book, I think they're in their 60s and they've had children or
Yeah.
got a child, and they're sort of which is a really beautiful idea because I think she wrote them several years apart, right? Like she kind of kept coming back to their stories, but what's the uniting thing and the kind of constant is their playfulness and their spirit together,
Mm-hmm.
which that's something you can work with. That's like that's the foundation, and obviously we want to do something different and original and bring it into the modern world, but holding on to that spirit is it's really important, and it's all there. Do you know what I mean? Like you spend like and reading any part of the book, you just dip into it. Like it's so funny. Like she's
So you just kind of touched on the will they won't they aspect of the story. A lot of these stories, if they're not done well, they get stale feeling when they get hit the will that they make it. It happens.
Yes. Yeah.
However, the source material that is how it goes.
Yeah.
I guess the question really is like, how do you guys deal with that part of it? It seems like a playfulness sort of thing, like one step forward in terms of like the relationship kind of coming together, and then like, no, we're backing off. We're just roommates.
Mm-hmm.
it's always changing, isn't it? It's subtle. And that's it's got to be alive. I think if we knew it, if it was too obvious from the beginning, people wouldn't care.
Right.
And so I think also it's a lot. Our characters at the start of the show haven't seen each other for 10 years, and they're different people. They used to be a couple, and a lot changes in 10 years. So it's very confronting, and
Yeah, and I think with the will they won't they thing, I think you're right. It's a thing that can get a bit after a while, like say we get a few more seasons, like it's like how long are you going to kind of keep doing that before an audience sort of gets frustrated with it? But I think as long as it can feel hopefully authentic and real, and Josh and I, with the support of Phoebe, our writer, and Fergus, our director, definitely, as well as plotting the points of the crimes that they were trying to solve, we definitely put a lot of work into making sure that the emotional beats felt grounded and real and like they made sense. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of a few steps forward and a few steps back that makes a lot of sense, like Josh said, because they were together and then haven't seen each other for 10 years, and there's a lot of stuff that wasn't kind of like dealt with. So that's
It comes to the surface at different points. It doesn't all come, they're not able to talk about it straight away. So it sort of finds its way into the story at different points. And obviously we're in some crazy situations, and
it's fertile ground for like that stuff to kind of pop up, and then in a very repressed English way, I think you can get away with doing a lot of it because the Brits like to really like not talk about stuff. So then it's like, you didn't notice that. So then it's like, I think we can eke a lot out of that.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got one more question. What was it like working with the Queen / Professor Umbridge / Imelda Staunton?
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, she brings so much like twinkle and magic to the show. And she was amazing on set, wasn't she? She's just...
It's incredible watching her work, just like coming on, and that the confidence of a real kind of veteran, just like coming in, knowing exactly what she needs to do the job that she wants to do well. Like, she had all of the idea, all of her, she'd done all of the work. She knew exactly what she wanted to do, and it was just sort of like watching her work and being like, that's good. Like it was kind of incredible. It was a real masterclass watching her.
I've seen her in so many serious roles, and then in this, she seems to be playing a little. And then like that bingo scene where it ends with someone yelling "Bingo, bitches!" It was just like,
she's so fun in it.
Very funny.
Very fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have for today.
Okay.
It was very nice talking to you
Nice
both.
to chat to you.
Thank you.